Hello, welcome to my channel Christian Faith and Fiction. My name's Lou. Today I'm going to share with you my recent reads video. I've been keeping a reading vlog on the different books that I've been reading through the last month. It never seems to work out into a proper month, so this is kind of July and August bits of that time. Let's see how I got on. Hi, it's the 15th of July. And this week I finished reading The Trouble with Love by Toni Shiloh. This is a contemporary romance and it's set in New York, and it follows Holiday Brown, who is a famous singer. She shares an apartment with a model and a ballerina, and they're all part of the kind of famous elite celebrity culture. She comes back from tour and finds that her friend has got a stalker, and so her friend's invited her brother to stay with them. Unfortunately, he's someone that Holiday doesn't get on with. He really irritates her, and she's not at all happy that they'll be living in the same apartment together. So you can kind of see how the romance is going to go between the two characters there. I thought at the beginning that there wasn't going to be enough other story going on to sustain my interest. It's very much a romance novel, but as the book went on, there were more kind of plot threads developed and a few other things happening, and I did really get into it. So I gave it a solid 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed the friendship. I enjoyed the style of the book. It's written in first person. And it's one of those books that really needed to be in the first person because the voice of the character really carries the story. It's very modern. She's quite a sassy character, and her voice carries the plot. There's complications with her family. There's things going on with the stalker plot. And of course there's the romance. There's quite a lot of Christian content in this one. Holiday is exploring faith and God for the first time, so we get to see quite a lot of the inner kind of workings of what she thinks about it. I thought it was a good, fun, modern, contemporary romance, and definitely worth reading. It was good to read a different type of Christian fiction novel with that kind of celebrity culture and the rich and famous, and seeing how faith fitted into it. It's July the 24th and I finished 2 books this week, one of which was The Return of the King, the last book in the Lord of the Rings. I probably enjoyed this one the most in terms of how the plot kind of goes through. There's lots of stuff going on, lots of different battles, and they finally make it into Mordor and you get to the end of it. The last part of it's quite long. There's a lot more in here that I don't think they put in the film at the end. The last part of this book, actually, that last third, is all an appendix, so just information and trivia history about Middle Earth. So I didn't reread that bit again. Didn't feel like I wanted to read that bit again, but I was kind of sad to get to the end. It's been my lockdown reading mission to reread these 3 books through, but it's been fun, it's been enjoyable, and yeah, I enjoyed the conclusion to that, especially some of the stories that don't make it into the cut in the film. I'd like to see the ending of those again. So yeah, I've enjoyed that. The other book that I finished was an audiobook that I got from the library, which was Seagrass, Pier by Colleen Coble. That's the 3rd book in the Hope Beach series. This book follows Ellen, who has had a heart transplant, and she is getting memories or flashbacks to the person who she's had the heart transplant from. So the person that she had it from was called Laura, and she was murdered, and Ellen is getting memories from that time coming back to her, and she has to try and kind of escape from
the killer of Laura, who now wants to come and kill her because she's getting memories from the heart. It's a romantic suspense novel, so there's a whole romance going on as well. There's I think his name's Mark, and he is an agent looking for the killer of one of his partners, one of his fellow FBI agents. They have a past, Ellen and Mark, and she keeps a big secret from him. So that's kind of something that comes between them to start with. Obviously, their relationship progresses throughout the book as they are trying to avoid being killed by the man who's stalking Ellen. I enjoyed the book. I thought the suspense was good. I thought that the plot was strong. It kept me going all the way through. I flew through the audiobook on 1.5 speed. I really enjoy this narrator. I think her name is Devon O'Day. I liked the romance in it. It had quite a lot of chemistry going on. I'm not sure whether I totally believe whether this could happen in real life. Possibly a person who's had a transplant could have some cell memory, but there's a lot of skepticism about it by the looks of it, and I think it's unlikely that you'd remember what a killer looks like and what they smelled like and all of that kind of thing, all the details from having a heart transplant. But within the story, within the fictional world, it worked very well, I thought, as a plot device, and you can suspend your disbelief for a while and just get into the story. So I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing what some of her more recent books have been like. Judging by the covers of her more recent books, they look more suspense. But I think it's still romantic suspense that she writes. It's Sunday the 9th of August, and this week I finished listening to the audiobook of The London Restoration by Rachel McMillan. The narrator is Hannah Curtis, I think. This is a Christian historical fiction novel set just after the end of the World War II. It releases on the 18th of August. I requested a copy of it from NetGalley, and the publishers, Thomas Nelson, were very kind to let me have a copy to review. I enjoyed this romantic suspense novel. It follows Diana and Brent Somerville, who married quickly during the war, and both longed for a time when they could return home together. However, things didn't go quite as planned, and they are both carrying secrets which they either cannot or will not share with each other. As they begin life together again, they are drawn together by a joint love of London's churches, but also by the mystery of a secret agent named Eternity. So the book follows them as they strive to restore their marriage, as well as the city and the country that they both love. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to the audiobook. I liked that the narrator had a British accent, seemed to fit with the character of Diana. I often listen to audiobooks on a faster speed, so I managed to listen to this one on 1.75 speed, and I still managed to get all of the words as well as most of the performance. I found the main characters to be quite complex, and I thought the author managed to get across how difficult it was for people coming back from the war after what they'd seen, and in some cases the secrets that they had to keep because they signed the Secrecy Acts. The book has a strong emphasis on their relationship, and I thought it was interesting to follow a romantic suspense where the characters are already married rather than coming together for the first time. I felt the mystery was kind of secondary to the characters and their relationships, but it was still intriguing and fun to follow along to. Christian faith does play a part in this book. It's there kind of in the forefront because they're studying the churches, and also Brent is a theology professor, but it's also in the background as they kind of trying to come to terms with how what they've seen during the war has changed the way that they believe and the kind of doubts that have come in, and the difficulties of faith in the face of war. All in all, I really enjoyed this book. I found there are some similarities for me with Rosanna M. White's Codebreaker series, even though that's set in the First World War and this one's set just after the Second World War. There's that kind of strong romantic element with kind of agents and spies in mixed in with it. So I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars, and I enjoyed listening to it on audiobook. So as you can see, I read one ebook, which was a romance, and then listened to 2 audiobooks, which were romantic suspense, and finished The Lord of the Rings, so a fantasy book as well. Let me know in the comments what you've been reading recently, and if you've read any of the books that I've read, let me know what you thought of those as well. And until next time, I'll see you again. Bye!